Hello class! Today we are going to look at Transformers Beast Wars 10th Anniversary Dinobot. Again, much like the other 10th Anniversary figures, the whole point was to try to make a figure that was a little more show accurate than what we had the first time around. So we're going to look at Dinobot here as a Velociraptor first. The 2-timing, 3-timing Predacon Trader, or however we want to call him. First thing to point out, we can kind of see it there, a maximum emblem there on his hip of his leg, which will eventually become the shoulder. Now in terms of the Velociraptor itself, again, in terms of the detail of the mold, we can see kind of the scaled skin here up top, and there's texture to it. Same thing with the pieces on the tail, his legs, we can see kind of the scales there, and his feet. His head, you know what, in terms of the detail of the Velociraptor, it looks excellent, and we can move the mouth up and down, so we can pretend we're Scott McNeil and try to talk like Dinobot, which I'm not going to do. Rawr, rawr. Okay. We've got his arms here. They move a little bit on their own, but not a whole lot, because, let's face it, they're kind of just for show. Now, unfortunately, I think this is probably the best example of how bad some of the Beast Wars figures could be in one respect. Any illusion you have of this being a robot in disguise is obviously just gone when you look at the front of him. You see what's clearly going to be his legs, just kind of mounted on top, and looks like his head in there. Yeah, but we'll forgive that for now, because trying to turn this into what they did on the show, I guess, would be kind of tough, wouldn't it? So, we're going to transform him. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take this little spinny thing here at the back. We're going to pop that off. We're going to obviously pull down the... Wow, these are legs? I didn't realize that. We're going to pull these down a little bit. We're going to flip up this part of the tail. Fold that right back so we can fold down his legs. Flip his shoulders up. Whoops. There we go. We're going to fold these up behind there, just to try to get them out of the way. And then we're going to fold the whole raptor piece down. Fold that bit down. Turn his legs around. There we go. Oh, come on. Oh, jeez. There we go. Let's see if we have the same struggle with the other side. Flip open this part there, and here we have Dinobot in his robot mode. Let's see if I can move his arms down here a little bit, though. Fine, we'll try going the other way. There we go. Okay. So there we have Dinobot. His claws. And in terms of his gimmick, oh, I guess we'll look at him first. Now, in terms of the color scheme, well, again, like most of the Beast Wars figures, as I said before, the color that we see in the Beast mode is going to largely be what we see in Robot mode. So we've got kind of the brownish, orangish color for most of the Raptor parts. A little bit browner up here. Now, his head, his face, does look a little closer to, I think, how it looked on the show. We've got the blue face. Can't really see the eyes in there, but they are red. Don't know how well you can see it there. A lot of the same sort of colors. Whoops. Now, for some reason, they took the ribs and the bones that form his legs that were up on his chest before and painted them green. I don't quite understand the logic of that. A silver or a white color probably would have been more appropriate. I don't know who decided that was a good idea, but they should probably be slapped. Now, in terms of articulation, this figure is a little bit gangly in that respect. Now, we can turn his head, but really, it's easier to do when we've got the kind of helmet on. We'll talk about that more in a second, but even still. Oh, man. We can move that a little bit. You see, I don't do that too often. His shoulders, he's got a joint this way, and then move that out of the way. We can move the arm. We can rotate it all the way around. At the upper arm, we've got rotation there. The elbow bends a little bit, but not a whole lot. And then the claws move independently. Well, the top and the bottom. Nothing in terms of the waist and the leg. Now, it's on a ball joint, but because of this piece here that forms a side, it does kind of obstruct the amount of movement that we have. And his knee, like a lot of the other figures, it's on a ball joint, so we can move that however we like. And the foot can move forwards and back. And that little piece here, we can move a little bit if we so desire. But that's more or less part of his transformation. Plus, I'm having a fair bit of difficulty with it. Ugh, there we go. So with articulation, it's not too bad. It's I don't know, kind of thrown together. It's hard to move his shoulder without moving part of this, unless there's something I'm missing, which I don't think I am. So we can stand him there for a second. There we go. Now, in terms of his weapons and his gimmicks, which we'll look at here, I've got his tail, which I popped off immediately. Like all good lizards, he can ditch his tail when he's scared. We can pop this open, and there we've got the sword that he became known for in the show. And it's styled very similar to how it was in the show. Obviously, a little more stylized in the show, little blades and whatnot. But it does look mostly the same, and because of the curve of his tail, it is curved a little bit here. And it's a it's slightly flexible plastic, but it's pretty tough, so you're not going to move it too much. And in my case, probably not without breaking it. And the way he holds it, we've got the hole in here in the peg, so he does literally hold it like this. We just kind of push it in there. There we've got his, whoa, his sword. And in terms of his other weapon and his gimmick, we have the tail shield that he also used a fair bit in the show. Folds open like this, and then with the little button here, we push it, and it spins to get that spinning effect. Which actually he used a great deal in the show. He screwed up, who was it, Scorponok once with it, and that was pretty cool. But anyways, we can spin that around. Whee! That's kind of fun. Okay. And again, it's got the peg here, and we've got the little hole in his hand up here that we can put this on. So that he can be holding it. Now the one thing I noticed with this, as you can see, the joint, the piece that holds this together is pretty loose, and I find it always seems to fall down. Same with one of the claws, if anyone noticed. It's very loose, and it doesn't seem to hold up too well. And this toy has not been played with that much, so it's not a simple matter of it being used too much and the joints just start to wear out. Now in terms of posability, it's kind of tough. As I said, he's kind of gangly, and because again, like so many other Transformers that have this kind of problem, the hip joints, actually it's his knees that are the problem. They're pretty loose. And he is, again, there's a lot of weight up top, especially once you start putting his armaments on him, his weapons. Ooh, that was a big word, wasn't it? So I'm gonna have a little more trouble trying to pose him in something dynamic. And the fact that the way his hands are, he can't just kind of hold the sword the way we expect or the way we saw it in the show is a little bit disappointing as well. Now, I should point out, I did like this character in the show, but honestly, I do find the figure a little disappointing. But I kind of knew that going in, because this is part of the 10th anniversary wave, so we know that it's kind of just a reuse of the old mold. Now, like a lot of the deluxes from that time, we had the beast head. In this case, it's more like a helmet that we can just fold closed, and it looks like a dinosaur skull over his head, which actually does look kind of cool. It would have been neat if they had used that in the show, like maybe in Dinobot's last episode or something. And actually, if we really wanted to, we could just pop these pieces right off. They're just, well, can I do it? Maybe not. There, I'm a liar. If you worked hard enough, you could pop those off, and you probably wouldn't miss them too much, because they just kind of obstruct his head. But at any rate, if I'm going to grade this figure, you know what? It pains me to do it because I liked Dinobot on the show. I thought he was the most interesting character, but the figure itself is not really that great. I would give this figure a C+. It's a little better than maybe average, but not by a whole lot. The joints are a little bit weak, and I don't know if that went for the Dinobot, the Grimlock figure from the original wave, but in this one, it's a problem. And he's kind of hard to deal with. His shoulders are difficult to deal with. The fact that we can't move his hands a little more properly, slightly disappointing. So again, I give this figure a C+. It's not my favorite one. It's not going to get a lot of display time, I don't think, because it just feels like it's difficult to do anything with. But at any rate, that is my biased opinion, and I'm sticking to it. This has been a look at the 10th anniversary Beast Wars figure Dinobot. I believe that's it for me. Have a good day. Class, if we stand him up, there we go, is dismissed.